Hello everyone, welcome to the What's New in Acctivate version 11.1 webinar. Today we're going to be talking about what's new in our latest version of Acctivate. I'm Eva Reese, I'm the Client Solution Specialist, and we're mainly going to be hearing from Brad Bearden. He has been with us for about 9 years now. He's used to be in our onboarding team, so many of you may know him, and now he's our new product manager. So Brad, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Thank you, Eva. I'm very excited and privileged to share with you some of the new features included in Acctivate 11.1. In today's webinar, I'll go over 3 key enhancements that you can look forward to. They are Acctivate Mobile for Android, full payment management in Acctivate, and a streamlined installation and upgrade process. Acctivate version 11.1 will include the release of Acctivate Mobile for Android. So Acctivate Mobile will continue to be offered and supported on Windows mobile devices, but we have chosen to expand our mobile offerings to include Android because it's widely supported. It offers a simplified installation and update process, and overall has an intuitive and modern interface, which we're confident will help you to be more efficient. The first release of Acctivate Mobile for Android will include support for mobile picking and receiving on Android devices. We'll take a look at the picking and receiving process in a moment, but first I want to discuss some of the supported devices. Our Android app has been developed to make use of devices using Zebra scanners. Zebra is a major player in the Android barcode scanning device marketplace, so this just allows plenty of options at different price points. We have had some hands-on experience with the Zebra MC40 and Zebra TC51 devices, but any of the devices you're seeing on screen are supported. Our Android app is compiled to run on Android 4.4 or higher. Android 4.4 is also known as KitKat, so hardware requirements are pretty easy to satisfy. But if you have any questions about supported devices, just feel free to reach out to your salesperson for more information or check our system requirements page. So one of the advantages of supporting Android that I mentioned a moment ago is the simplified installation and update process. Installing the Android app will really be as simple as just searching for Acctivate in the Google Play Store, then downloading and installing that app. Once it's installed, you would just launch the app, which will prompt you to enter your Acctivate web service URL. And then from there, you're set up and ready to go. So just to reiterate, on the client device side, Acctivate Mobile will continue to be offered and supported on devices running either Windows Mobile or Android. Just be sure to check the system requirements first before purchasing a device. On the server side, the same Acctivate web service is used for Windows Mobile and Android, so that just means that you can run Acctivate on Windows mobile devices and Android devices side by side. All right, so let's take a look at order picking in Android. It's difficult to give a demonstration of all the functionality, including scanning. So I've put together some screenshots of the actual interface that you will see, and I'll guide you through each screen. When you first launch the app, you'll be presented with the login screen, which allows you to select the company to log into. To sign into the app, you would just enter your Acctivate user ID and password. The first screen you're going to see when you log in is the main menu. The main menu will display your options. You can pick sales orders or pick lists, view product information, and receive inventory with or without a purchase order. From the main menu, you can click the icon in the upper left-hand corner, which will slide out another menu with some additional options. So this screenshot illustrates how that menu would slide out over the main menu. In this menu, you can see which user you're logged in as well as the company you're logged into. Acctivate Mobile includes a barcode info tool, which allows you to scan a barcode and see the data that is encoded in the barcode, including any application identifiers that may be present. There are some less common configuration options that are available in the configuration menu here. And then lastly, whenever you're ready to log out of the app, you can come into this menu and choose Log Out. All right, so now that we've covered the login and menu options, let's take a look at what happens when we click on the picking menu option. Acctivate Mobile supports picking sales orders or picking pick lists, depending on which you use. I've included some screenshots of the sales order picking process, but the pick list process is very similar to this. In this case, when you click picking, you're going to be presented with a list of sales orders to pick in this interface, which I feel is a pretty clean and easy to use interface. You can use the funnel filter icon in the upper right-hand corner to filter down the list of orders based on the branch, order workflow status, and the customer's requested ship date. If you make changes to the branch, order workflow status, or requested ship date, the list of orders will filter down to display all the orders that meet your filtering criteria. When you're viewing the list of orders, there's up to 4 pieces of information that you will see. You'll see the order number, the customer, the customer's requested ship date. And if the order is being picked or in a pick on hold status, you're going to see that below the customer's name. So for example, order A1490T has being picked below it, and that's because that order is currently being picked. It has a pick in progress status. So to begin picking a sales order, you must select the order, and there's a few ways that you can select an order. You can simply just scan a barcoded order number, which will immediately open the order for picking, or you can filter down the list using the order number search field at the top, or you can scroll through the list and select an order just using the device's touchscreen. All right, so once you select an order, you'll see this screen, which displays the sales order details. In addition to the details, you can see the order info and order notes. The order info tab at the top, if you click that, you'll see the bill to, ship via for the order. And if you click on the notes tab at the top, you can view any order notes or you can add new notes to the order from here. All right, so we're looking at the details tab, which shows the products to pick. This order includes products B10, B15, and B18. You can see the quantities that have been picked, in this case 0, and then the total quantity to pick for each order line, 20, 80, and 50. And then below the product and quantities, you can see the warehouse location to pick from. To pick a sales order line, simply scan the product's barcode or use the touchscreen of the device to select the row. So scanning a product barcode or selecting the product using the touchscreen will open the order detail line, and you'll see this screen. So each scan will increment the picked quantity by 1, or you can click in the picked quantity field and the on-screen number pad will slide up and you can quickly enter in the total picked quantity. So I'd scanned product B15 to get to this screen, then I just typed in 80 to quickly set my picked quantity to be 80. So from here, you can also update the location that you're picking from by scanning a location barcode. You can use the location lookup, or you can just type in the location. So once you pick this order line, in this case we have the location set, we have the picked quantity, you can use the up and down arrows in the upper right hand corner to go to the next or previous order line to quickly progress through the order. So you'll see at the top of this screen, I'm currently picking line number 2 of 3 order lines. Once you're done picking the sales order, you can submit it as a picked order, or you can submit it as a pick on hold status, which allows you to resume the picking process at a later time. You can also choose to print a pack list or print a label of the ship to address from this screen. Just select your options, then press the check mark in the upper right hand corner to submit it. So once it's submitted, that's it. You're done and you're returned to the list of sales order where you can begin picking the next order. So you can see that the picking process on Android is pretty simple and straightforward, and I hope you find that it has a user-friendly interface. Let's take a look at receiving now in Acctivate Mobile for Android. So on the main menu of the app, when you click Receive, you'll be taken to the Inventory Receipt screen where you're able to toggle a slider depending on whether or not you're going to receive against the PO. If you're not going to receive against the PO, you'll be able to select which warehouse you're receiving into, and then you can add the products and quantities that you're going to receive. When you move the slider to From PO, you're able to scan a barcode for the purchase order number, or you can use the lookup to select a PO, and I have a screenshot of that here. The lookup contains the PO number, requested delivery date, and the vendor. So if necessary, you can use the search box filter to filter down that list, and then just simply click on the row to select that purchase order. Okay, I'm going to proceed with receiving a purchase order for this demonstration. After selecting a PO, you'll see the products, the quantities received, and the total quantity to receive. So for example, the PO I selected has 7 eaches of Cal 20 outstanding to be received. And as we saw with sales order picking, below the product, you'll see the location in which the product will be received into. So at this stage, it defaults to the primary stocking location, but we'll have an opportunity to change that in a moment if we want to receive into a different location. And again, as we saw with order picking, you can scan a product's barcode or use the touchscreen to begin the receipt of that product. So after scanning a product or selecting it, you'll see this screen. And here you can continue to scan each quantity received. Each scan increments the received quantity by 1. Or you can use the on-screen number pad to type in the total quantity received. As with order picking, you can scan a location barcode, type in the location, or use the lookup to select the location that the quantity should be received into. Likewise, we can use the up and down arrows in the upper right hand corner to just move to the next or previous purchase order line, so we can progress through the order by setting the quantity, going to the next line, setting the quantity, and proceeding. Once you've entered the received quantities, you can submit the inventory receipt. On this screen, you have the option to print product labels or the put away list based on the receipt information. From here, you would press the check mark in the upper right-hand corner, and you're done. The receipt will be submitted. Okay, so that's an overview of mobile picking and receiving. I hope you find the user interface intuitive and easy to use, and I really look forward to hearing any feedback you may have on it. In Acctivate 11.1, we've also included a range of new payment management features. So prior to 11.1, you could only record a payment in Acctivate at the time of invoicing, and that payment would be applied only to that invoice. From there, we would synchronize the invoice and payment applied to each other to QuickBooks. If you wanted to change how that payment was applied, or you wanted to receive a prepayment, that is to say, a payment that would be applied to a future created invoice, you had to do all of that in QuickBooks. In Acctivate 11.1, we've added an enter payment window, which allows you to receive payments at any time and save them as a credit to be applied to future invoices, or you can record and apply a payment to one or multiple invoices at a time. With the new enter payment window, if you want to record a payment and apply it to an invoice, you can choose to apply the payments at your discretion by selecting which invoices it should be applied to, or you can use the auto apply button to apply that payment across several invoices at once, which may be a more efficient way. We'll take a look at that in a moment. The enter payment window can be used to record various payment types, such as cash and checks, but you can also process credit cards if you have Acctivate integrated with one of our supported payment processors. For those of you who do not have a payment processor currently set up within Acctivate, QuickBooks Payments is the preferred processor for Acctivate. QuickBooks Payments, of course, integrates with QuickBooks, but by integrating Acctivate with QuickBooks Payments, you also get a more seamless integration with payment processing, and this allows you to take advantage of payment features in both programs. If you're curious or would like to compare your current rates, take a look at our What's New page for rate comparisons and directions on how to get set up with a QuickBooks payment account. All right, so let's take a look at the new enter payment window. All right, the new enter payment window can be accessed from various locations, but I want to touch on what I believe will be the most common ways. Users can choose to add that customer payment window to their icon bar. Clicking the icon opens the enter payment window, allowing you to look up and select which customer you're receiving payment from. And we'll take a look at this a little bit more in depth in a moment. You can also create a payment from the enter payment window, and this will open up the enter payment window with the customer already linked to it. You'll notice that the payment memo field pre-populates with text saying prepayment for order and then the order number. This allows you to immediately record the payment, and then at the time of invoicing, you can view the available credits for this customer, which would include this payment with this payment memo. So this memo just allows you to ensure that the payment is in fact associated with the correct invoice. The third way I want to show you is from the customer list. Open up the payment window from the customer list. So you'd open up the customer list, find the customer, and then use the Create Payment menu option here, which will open up the enter payment window with this customer link to it, and we'll see that in a moment. So these are the common ways to access the enter payment window, but before we go on, I just want to point out that there are user permissions that restrict access to this window, and it's got 3 levels. So 1, users can be blocked from having access to the enter payment window at all. Users can be allowed to view payments but unable to enter or edit payments, or users can be given full access to the enter payment window and manage payments. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new payment from the customer list. I'm going to look up customer Ajax and select Create Payment. So I have Ajax here. I'm going to use Create Payment. And as I mentioned, since I've opened the enter payment window from the customer list, this window is pre-populated with the customer. This customer Ajax has a preferred payment assigned to them and credit card information saved on file, so the payment type and credit card information is pre-filled in this window. If the customer wants to pay with a different payment method, you can change the payment type, or if the customer doesn't have a saved payment method, you would simply select the payment type from the menu. So in this example, this customer will pay with their preferred payment type, and they want to pay multiple open invoices. You can see the open invoices in the grid below, but if you have multiple branches or accounts receivable accounts, there are options to filter the invoice list before applying payments. You can choose to filter by AR account or by branch. For example, I can change this to filter by branch, and then I see the F branch or the D branch. In this case, both branches use the same AR account, so when I filter by AR account, I see invoices for both the D and F branch. When I enter this payment, it will synchronize to QuickBooks using the AR account selected or the AR account associated with the branch that I've selected. Okay, so let's take a look at the invoice grid. The invoice grid will show various information such as the invoice date, invoice number, total amount of payments applied to this invoice, and the current balance of the invoice. You can also view the terms code and the definition of the terms code by either hovering over it or clicking on it. So if I hover over it, I get that. If I click on it, I pop out that message in a new window. And this example shows that this invoice is assigned the terms code of 210N30. That translates to a 2% discount of $2 if the invoice is paid in 10 days. The full amount of the invoice will be due in 30 days, which is July 13th, 2021. If this invoice is eligible for a discount based on payment terms, the discount field will populate with the eligible discount amount. So in this case, the invoice is eligible for a $2 discount since the payment date is within the first 10 days. You can also change this payment discount amount or add a payment discount to an invoice that doesn't currently have one. Again, the terms code definition can be viewed, so you may see that the discount expired yesterday and no discount is automatically calculated, but you may wish to honor an early payment discount, for example. So viewing the discount definition will tell you what that discount would have been, and then you can type in the discount that you want to give. If a payment discount amount is entered, the discount amount will sync to the discount GL account assigned to the field next to the discount amount, so in this case, the cash discounts GL account. Okay, now that we've talked about the payment information that's available on screen, let's go ahead and proceed with entering a payment. We'll need to first enter a payment amount, and there are actually two ways to set the payment amount. First, I can check off individual invoices, which will set the payment amount to the balance of the selected invoices. So for example, if I were to click this second invoice, it'll set the payment amount to be $300. Alternatively, I can use the check all button in the lower left-hand corner, and that will check off all the invoices and set the payment amount to the sum of the balance of all of those invoices. Or, instead of checking out the invoices, I can enter in a payment amount. In this case, I'll enter in $500. Then from here, I can select which invoice the payment should be applied to. So I could select the second invoice, for example, and that would apply $300 of the $500 payment towards it. Or since I've entered the payment first, I can use the button in the lower left-hand corner, which is now changed to auto apply. I'm going to uncheck the second invoice, and if I click auto apply, it will apply the payment to the invoices starting at the top of the grid and working its way down until the entire payment has been applied. So you can sort the invoice list by clicking any of the column headers. So in this case, $98 is applied to the first invoice and $300 to the second invoice. So that leaves an unapplied amount of $102, which you see at the bottom of the window here, the remaining amount to apply. This amount will be saved as a credit on the customer's account and can be selected when creating future invoices. So in this example, I've applied a payment to invoices, but a payment doesn't have to be applied to invoices. You can save the entire payment as a credit if you want to. A lot of the payment application functionality was new, but receiving payments without an invoice was just something that wasn't supported in versions prior to 11.1. Okay, let's go ahead and process this payment. I'm going to click Charge and Save. And I'm going to receive this message that says it's going to add $102 credit for this customer because they have an overpayment that is not applied to any invoices. I'm going to click OK here. You could click Cancel if you need to apply that payment to an invoice if you missed one, for example. Okay, once the credit card has been processed, you will receive a confirmation window such as this indicating that the card has been processed. When I close that, the Enter Payment window displays the transaction and authorization information here. There's a message in the upper right-hand corner. If necessary, Acctivate will let you attempt to void a credit card payment, but if the credit card processor has batched or finalized the payment transaction, then you may be given a message indicating that the payment can't be voided. In that case, you would need to create a refund transaction through your credit card processor. All right, now that this payment has been recorded, you may want to print or email a payment. We've added new email template fields that allow you to create your own pre-formatted email messages to the billing address saved on file for the customer. So you go to Print and then choose Email Payment. And then in the email window, I've created a template that I want to use. And as you see, the email template populates the email message body with information from the payment window. A PDF copy of the payment and its applications are attached to the email. And we can see that by clicking on the attachment and opening up. It shows the total amount paid, the total applied, discounts given, and then the total amount left unapplied. Okay, so in addition to recording new payments, you can manage how payments are applied to invoices. So let's go ahead and close this. So to edit a payment, locate the customer in the customer list. So I want to edit a payment application for Bristol. So I can type Bristol. And then it may help to filter the timeline based on the type of payments. And here I see a payment. So you can view the payment by clicking the payment type link. So in this case, I'll click check to view the check. And what that shows me is the payment header information and which invoices the payment is applied to. You can also view and search the list of payments here. If I want to make a change to how this payment's applied, I can open this payment in the inner payment screen. To do that, I would click Edit at the top here, or back on the previous screen, I would click the pencil icon here, and that'll open up the inner payment window. In the inner payment window, I can click Edit and change how this payment is applied. So the customer made a payment, but it was accidentally applied to the wrong invoice. What I would do is click Edit, uncheck it, then check the correct invoice. Now I'll go ahead and save my change. The payment has now been applied to a different invoice. So as you can see, Acctivate 11.1 includes some very robust payment management features to help you be more efficient. When you upgrade to Acctivate 11.1, you'll notice a new, easier installation and upgrade process. Prior to 11.1, you would need to be sure that you were downloading the correct install file for the type of installation you were performing. For example, a server install versus a workstation install. You would also need to ensure that you were downloading and installing the correct edition of Acctivate. With 11.1, there's only one install file that is used for both server and workstation installs, and the same installer is used to perform upgrades, so there's no chance that you're accidentally downloading and installing the wrong file. When performing a new install, the correct edition is selected based on the edition you're licensed for, and the same installer is used for both workstations and servers. So simply download the installer, run it, and you'll be guided through the installation process. Updates are now easier to perform than ever. The same installer is used to upgrade an existing installation. So again, you would go to the downloads page of our website, download the installer, run it, and it will update your instance of Acctivate. With 11.1, when you perform a new install or an upgrade, an Acctivate EXE is installed on your workstation. This is a change to the way Acctivate has been run in the past, and it offers increased stability and performance when running Acctivate. By using a local EXE, each workstation can also update at their own convenience as long as they're within a certain minimum version of each other. So for example, when a user updates their workstation and logs into Acctivate, other users will get notified that a newer version of Acctivate is available, and they'll be asked if they want to install the update. Typically, you'll be able to defer the update until it's a convenient time for you to update, but there will be a point where you may be required to update if other workstations are running a version of Acctivate much newer than yours, but it is going to be a much more accommodating update process. I understand that installing and updating isn't something you probably experience on a daily basis, but we believe this process will be much more accommodating, and we believe the stability and performance impact will be realized on a daily basis. So those are the three big enhancements that we have for 11.1, but I also want to talk about just some other significant changes. We have an integration with the updated Shift4Shop API, formerly known as 3D Cart. We have a simplified setup process for Shopify as well as Gmail. Both Shopify and Gmail are widely popular platforms that Acctivate integrates with, and so we've made this integration process more secure and more simplified. So these are the enhancements included in 11.1. I'm very excited about them, and I hope you are as well. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, Brad, for that awesome presentation. So now we're going to go over some really quick questions. We had a couple of things come in, so I'm going to ask the question, and then Brad will give us an answer. The first question is, can you run Windows Mobile and Android Mobile simultaneously?
Yes, so I touched on this in the presentation quickly, but you will be able to use both an Android device and a Windows mobile device side by side. Since the first release of Android will include picking and receiving, you may choose to have the pickers and receivers use the Android device while someone performing transfers, for example, uses the Windows mobile device.
Okay, so you can still use both. Awesome. And can we use an Android cell phone for the Android mobile app?
You could use an Android cell phone, however, you would not be able to scan using the phone's camera. Acctivate Mobile is really designed to be used with one of the supported Android barcode scanning devices that we showed earlier.
Okay, so if I tried to use my Android phone, it wouldn't work.
That's right, you would have to use the touch screen.
Okay. Can we still do payments in QuickBooks if that's what we're used to?
Yes, so payments can be processed in QuickBooks and will synchronize to Acctivate. However, part of the reason we added the payment functionality to Acctivate was to give our users a central location to perform all their tasks. So we've gotten a lot of feedback that many of our users are able to do everything that they need to do in Acctivate except for payments. So we hope that this move makes it easier to do everything you need to do in Acctivate. If you still find that there's a reason you're doing payments in QuickBooks instead of Acctivate, we'd be interested to hear why and what we can do to improve that.
Absolutely. We're always looking for feedback. Next question was, will Windows Mobile be updated to look like Android Mobile? Because there's a difference.
No, Windows Mobile and Android do use very different user control designs. Windows Mobile devices have a physical keyboard, whereas Android devices typically make use of an on-screen keyboard and gestures. Because of these differences, the Windows Mobile interface will not be updated, but we have and we will continue to update the Windows Mobile app alongside our Android app.
Awesome. Good news. Next question is, do I need to enter my Acctivate registration credentials when I update the server now?
No. So when we publish a new Acctivate update, it's not uncommon for our customers to reach out to us to ask what their Acctivate license credentials are so that they can perform that update. If you already have Acctivate installed, you will no longer need to have your license credentials on hand to perform the upgrade. New installs will need to enter their license credentials one time, but if you already have Acctivate installed, you just perform the update and it'll complete without that step.
That's awesome. Will the other inventory transactions be added to Android Mobile?
Yes, we have plans on adding transfers, counts, adjustments, and assemblies to Android Mobile in the future, but our main focus at this point is just putting out an Android app for the primary functions of picking and receiving. Eventually, we will have feature parity between both Windows Mobile and Android.
Awesome. That's good to know. Our next question came in and it says, will I still be able to take a payment as I invoice an order? And can I save a payment on the sales order record to be taken later?
Yes, so you can take a prepayment with a new order like we saw earlier, but we will also support the old way of recording payments. That is to say, you can enter a payment during the Create Invoice window or save the payments on the Payments tab of the sales order. That will still be really an efficient way to handle payments that were processed on a web store and the order was imported in with that payment. And what that will allow you to do is create the invoice and that payment gets applied to that invoice.
Awesome.
We do plan on doing a webinar in July that will cover payments a little bit more in depth, more comprehensively, and we'll talk about the old ways and the new features and just some of the other configuration options.
Great. And our last question is the update process for Android Mobile any different than updating on Windows Mobile?
Yes, so it is significantly different in a good way. It's much easier since you will get the update through the Google Play Store. If your device is configured to automatically download updates, you will get a notification that there is a new update available, and you can just simply click on that. It'll download and install and launch the app. So it's much simpler than the method used on Windows Mobile.
Yeah, that sounds really easy.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That's all the questions we have today. Thank you for joining us as we went through what's new in Acctivate version 11.1. If you would like to be part of our version 11.1 preview program, which will be out soon. Hello everyone, welcome to the What's New in Acctivate version 11.